Bro, you think he'll come to the point faster this time?
What did I say?
Shut up! क्या माँ फिर से लॉकडाउन कर डालता है की ने? Bro, did you do that fitness challenge I sent you on Instagram? Which one, bro? This one. No, bro, I'm just doing some casual home workouts. Just see, no, I tag you and you don't respond. It doesn't look nice. Yeah, bro, cool. I'll do that.
Being on the road now for more than 60 days, sometimes it's tough to remember that there are still things in life to laugh about. In fact, it is such a depressing and in some ways grim time that maybe there's nothing very funny about it. Yet the best comedy, the most savage comedy is born from tragedy, from despair. And someone who has done this for us and made us laugh even in these terrible times is Danish Seth, who's become quite the star of the times. And it's a pleasure to have him on this from our mobile studio, which is our car. Danish, my car is a little bit like your props. Before you actually had a second phone, you had to record on the single phone that you had, and you were using all kinds of other things as props. So what's the story of that? Because that really became part of your act then.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, the thing is, I had to use the one phone that I had to record, and I had whatever thrown in front of me. It was actually a mistake. The nozzle of my vacuum cleaner, I had left it on the office table because I didn't keep it in its place. And I used that to make the first video. And then I just started getting hold of everything around me. And that just became the trend. And honestly, I have only one phone. So in a situation like this, I'm like, great, this has become a trend. And it's also just helping me with the fact that I don't have to buy another phone. So I'm just extremely happy that way.
So like, they say great journalism is born from accidents. So I guess great art is also born from accidents, right? So if you had two phones, you wouldn't have had this great idea for the props functioning as your phone.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe if I had another phone, I would have been lazy and just used that. I'm so glad that, there's something beautiful that's come out of having nothing. And I think that's what this lockdown has made all of us aware of. The fact that you can optimize what you have, and what we have is actually sufficient. Like I was just talking to my friends the other day about shopping, and I said, what a good waste of money every time we go out and buy clothes or shoes or whatever. And I'm like, what we have is actually just enough. It's sufficient. What is this greed that we have for more? And I think a situation like this has just made that even more clearer, and it's just cemented that fact in the head.
Now, Danish, you do something I think much more effectively than the rest of us in this job do. Because when I get angry, I start being preachy, or I start getting agitated, or I get emotional. But you kind of convey the same thing through humor, through gentle satire.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about how you found the humor in these times. What did you find funny? How did you learn to laugh at it all and to make us laugh along with it?
Yeah. So actually, I have always kind of operated in this sense because I did radio for a good 8-9 years. And I think the one thing that radio teaches is to work within boundaries. They have rules, they have regulations. So you can't really complain about not having facilities. You've got to make do with what you have. And also when I was really small, I would go out to play gully cricket. And from a very young age, I realized the guy who had the bat, the guy who had the ball, he made the rules. If he said pitch catch was out, then pitch catch was out. Or you could just stand there and fight with him. So in a situation like this, I think it was just instinct taking over to say, okay, what do I do? Because this is the only thing I know how to do. I know how to make content. I know how to make, funny videos or whatever. And I was like, I might as well put my resources that I have together and do some content, because in the first week of the lockdown, I was just as anxious and paranoid as everybody else. Then when I would speak to my friends, I realized the conversations were the same. Everybody was talking about how Corona, dude, this China, dude. Bro, what's the way out of this, bro? I don't know when it's going to end, bro. And I was like, maybe these are the conversations everyone's having. So let me start making videos by just compiling conversations of people. And even before I knew, it just became a trend and it started engaging me as well. So an hour and a half of mine goes every day. So now it's just become like, great, I'll do it. It's also time that goes by, and it's also content that goes out, and there's a little bit of laughter. Because I feel like a situation like this, I mean, scientists and doctors and governments are struggling. We're just mere citizens who are at the mercy of the entire establishment, right? Which is right above us. How much tension to take? Might as well make the most of whatever is there around us, right?
So I got to ask you, what's on your table right now? Because you said that this all started with the vacuum cleaner part that wasn't cleared off. So
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what's on the table right now? What are the props that you
Oh,
can
there are so many others. You know, I actually picked up a toy gun before the lockdown. I don't know why. I have a
hold that
toilet
up, hold that.
roll.
1 minute. You got to go slower for us. What's with the toy gun?
Yeah.
Can you hold that
So,
up?
yeah.
Hold that up. Yeah. What's with that?
So this is a toy gun that I picked up before the lockdown started. I don't know why. I just liked it, so I picked it up. I'm stupid. Okay, just don't judge me. Then I have a toilet roll that I use.
For what? Should I even be asking?
Yeah, I have a
What,
paint.
what, what is the toilet roll used for beyond its obvious use?
So, you know, actually what happened was I was doing a video about catching up with friends. And there's a friend who's in America. So I was doing an American accent going, hey, how are you guys doing? And blah, blah, blah. And I used this as a phone because this is the most, I mean, when you think of America right now, I think of toilet rolls, right? Because they were going mad initially. Then I started using a paintbrush as another phone. Um, this is what started all of it.
This is the
This is the
famous
nozzle of my vacuum cleaner that's never gone back into the vacuum cleaner again. It just stays with me on this table now. And my drawer has like this, you know, that auntie that I do who's always looking for a parlor. That's her hair. It's actually a shopping bag. So I needed an older lady, and I was like, how do I make like a white wig? I don't have a white wig. So I went running into the kitchen. I looked for a white bag and I put it on my head. So like that, I just have different things. I have different bags. This is another bag. You know, there's that Muslim uncle that I do. That Muslim uncle with his head dadi.
So I have to ask you to do these little bits for us. Just 10 seconds each. Come on.
Okay, done.
Start with the Muslim uncle. Start with the Muslim uncle.
Yeah, okay, done. क्या माँ बरखा रास्ते में पूरा फिरले को ही कते.
And the auntie? And the salon auntie?
Auntie needs a mustache also. No, I'll do it with that then. I'll do it with that. This is the auntie with the hair. And don't forget she has a mustache because parlors are not open.
But don't make fun of women, okay? You guys look like shit also. Yeah, don't be sexist. Women have hair.
Barkha, how are you? You know, my maid Jaya's been coming. Who's cleaning your mobile vehicle for you? So I actually had like an entire sketch written today about the parlors being open, and this Didi was supposed to go to the parlor. Then the sonic boom happened in Bangalore, which everybody's been going mad about, right? Like we've never heard a sound before in our lives. So then I had to like sidetrack and make a different video again about just the sonic boom. So it's fun. Like I just feel like this is an extended childhood, right? Like this is exactly what all of us did as children. Just held random objects and had conversations and, you know, cooked stuff up and had fun with it. And I think for me, it's just an extended childhood, and I'm having a great time because I finally have time to make videos and have fun. Otherwise, we get so caught up with this whole thing of moving from one set to the other, one show to the other, that we don't get time. And I'm just happy that this is happening.
You know, the stuff that these jokes are saying, right? Like when you're talking about the auntie and her engagement with the domestic.
Yeah.
There is that class bias. Our class wants to think that poor people bring in the virus, whereas it's actually our class that first brought it into India to begin with. When you do the Muslim uncle, you're kind of saying multiple things at a time when, you have the Tablighi Jamaat at the one end and you have Muslims being treated, all of them, as if they're criminals on the other, right? So the things that you're saying, and what's most important for you to say through your humor?
The fact that it doesn't matter whether you are rich, poor, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, boy, girl, man, woman. This is a virus which is an invisible threat, and we're all equally humbled by it. Like I was, there's a line that I've used in one of my videos where I say, "Pahle Allahu Akbar cheeke to darte the, ab khali cheeke to." And that's the truth, right? It's amazing how just one sneeze, it doesn't matter which religion you're from, it's just going to scare everybody around you. So I think it was just about sending out a message saying, "A laugh and and just look at what the society around us is." Like a lady saying, "My nails are chipped washing vessels," to her domestic help thinking chips didi. It just goes to show what difference there is, right? Like our problems are so different, but we're all a part of whatever is happening right now. Like just as simple as a domestic help coming home and somebody saying roll out the red carpet. It's true because they've been coming home for years, and we've had different domestic helps walk in and out of our house. But I think the kind of respect that they've got now, we really realize, like washing every spoon, how difficult it is for them. Like personally for me, I've learned so much out of this period that now if I have to use two spoons, if I have to use one spoon for two things, I'm happy to do that. Like earlier, it used to be one spoon to just put coffee powder into the cup. One used to be to mix it. Now it's the same spoon. You know what I mean? So I just feel like a lot of basic things in life I've managed to pick up from this, and I tend to not really preach, but I'm like, if you pick it up, great. If you don't, it's fine. Just laugh and be happy.
But you're also, obviously, there's a kind of north-south fault line here,
Yeah.
because the chasteness of the Prime Minister's Hindi clearly got to you.
I think it wasn't just to me, it was a lot of people, I think. I think even people up north were like, it's the equivalent of Shashi Tharoor speaking in English. Right?
Okay, that's funny. Okay, that's funny.
And a lot of people actually...
Shashi Tharoor's English and Modi ji's Hindi.
Yeah.
Mushkil.
The thing is, ma'am, a lot of people took the humor in the right spirit, in the right sense, but there were a few who thought I was making fun of the Prime Minister. And I'm like, I'm not making fun of the Prime Minister or his position. I'm nobody. I'm too small. It was about the Hindi. It is just the way the English was made fun of. It's the Hindi. Saying I don't get the Hindi. Like I don't get Shashi Tharoor's English either. It was just the fact that a lot of people down south were actually like, it's the truth, because that Hindi we don't speak. I mean, people in Delhi don't speak such Hindi, yeah.
You said only Amitabh Bachchan understood that what Atmanirbhar actually is.
I actually said that. I said only Amitabh Bachchan and Modi ji understood the Hindi, I said, and and people found it funny, but some thought I was making fun of the Prime Minister. It's not that, I have absolute respect for the Prime Minister. It's the Hindi and it's the humor of that moment saying, bro, you understood what he said, because it was difficult, right? Like I had so many friends saying, yaar, ye kya hai ye? Hindi samajh mein nahi aa rahi hai, right? A lot of them. It was just in good humor.
Yeah. No, and also Nirmala Sitharaman came and translated it and explained it in then multiple languages for South India. So I think they also understood that when it comes to Hindi, there's a real north-south divide.
I mean, it's a little hard to kind of sit down and actually say, I mean, there is a massive divide, of course, because we speak like different languages down south. You move from one state to the other, you're speaking a different language completely. Here you're talking about like the entire length and breadth of our country, right? Which is beautiful. It's diverse. But when it comes together, it's not really the same, but we're beautiful together.
Are there any holy cows that you won't make fun of right now? And the reason I'm asking is this is always that razor's edge that satirists walk, right? You may think something can fall flat. You may think something's evolved. It can be, misogynistic to somebody. Like you said, you were making a joke about Atmanirbhar. Somebody could think you're making fun of the country right now. And this happens all the time. We live in this mad, amplified world of Twitter where, everyone has an opinion and everybody. So how much does that influence what you say and what you don't say?
Man, I was brought up with two principles. My mother always told us two things. Never discuss politics outside, never discuss religion outside. It's very private. You're one with God and you're one by yourself when you go vote. So that's a line I'll never cross, because I do believe that it's not necessary for me to sit down and poke fun at a particular person. Like, see, a lot of people, I actually saw tweets that day when, Modi ji was speaking. I saw tweets from people saying package. That's just punching down on him for his English. And I don't think that's right. because English is not the measure of someone's intelligence. A. Uh, I did not make that a part of my sketch or my skit that I do. I did not. I took on other stuff, like whatever other things are there, like not understanding and the ignorance of oneself versus what he was saying. But in terms of just making fun of politicians, I don't think it's necessary, because there's enough people doing it in any which case. And whatever their fight is, because I just believe, ma'am, I was dating somebody in Chicago and she wanted me to convince her to come back to India. And I told her, listen, I'm America and its might, and I'm no tourism minister of India to tell you to come back here. I can't fight against a country. I can tell you to come back, right? And it's the same logic here as well. I feel like humor, my job is through a 1-minute video. Can I make someone laugh? Can I make a certain percentage think? That's about it. I don't think I want to ever be in that space of, picking on a government, picking on this one. That's not me, ma'am. It's not necessary, I think.
I have to ask you, did you manage to convince the person you were dating to come back, or you were unconvincing?
No, ma'am, lockdown happened. So, so now I'm Atmanirbhar. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for making us laugh at these times. I mean,
Thank you.
even when we're on these long journeys, we're following what you're doing. And
Thank
thank
you.
you. It's nice
And
to
thank
get a
you for taking your time out to call me amidst your busy schedule of traveling around the country. Thank you very much. Really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep making us laugh. Thank you.